So I'll call the meeting to order, and let me get my roll call page up here. Okay. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's do that first. Jason, you want to read it for us?
Sure will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. Roll call. Chad is on the phone. Chad, you with us?
Yeah,
Okay, and Paul and I are here. All right, let's move right on to any communications.
In your packet, you will see there that
It's got something, wait, we got something going. This is like, that's way too. There's something in the background. Chad, say hello. I got turned up a little bit. There's a lot of noise in the background where you are. Something you
okay,
just,
I thought the car was
yeah, it was breaking up and really loud. Okay, we'll try it again.
Okay.
Okay,
In your packet, there is a legislative preview lunch that they have annually at the Bridgeport Conference Center. A couple of us has went in the past. It is on Tuesday, January the 28th at 11:30 a.m. I plan to go.
what about that thing? That's the 28th, isn't it?
No, I think I was clear that day.
I thought that when we got that thing about moving that
Okay.
court date,
You're right. Let me check there.
10 o'clock,
Now, the court date is the 28th at 10 a.m. in Buchanan.
28th, 10 a.m. So
Well, we may not be able to go there.
that's what I was pointing out, the fact it's a conflict. This,
Right.
the lunch or whatever they have conflicts with the Buchanan
You can
thing.
tell I didn't put it in my phone.
Well, I mean, Jason, I'll be at that hearing in Buchanan, so if you wanted to go to that, I can cover and certainly report what happens.
But
You and I went last time.
yeah, because I'd like to be able to
I think we,
know what's going on in Charleston.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be uneventful anyway, and
this thing at,
I think so. The judge is going to hear oral argument and take it under advisement. I don't think he's going to rule at the hearing.
Yeah,
But I would need you available, or Al available on the phone in case something does happen.
why don't you guys take care? I'll tell you what, let's do that. You take care of the Charleston and the state legislative thing, and I'll get a link up with Tim, okay, with Tim? That'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, guys. We can work that out.
okay. Let me turn it up.
All right. Let's move on to,
All right, so
Anything else?
Paul, are you available? It's on Tuesday,
What's the time again?
11:30.
Yeah, I think I'll make myself available.
Okay, Chad, are you available?
Is that the 28th you said?
28.
Yeah, I'm good on that day.
Okay.
very good. Now we're all square then.
So Chad and Paul.
Where's it at again?
Bridgeport Conference Center.
Bridgeport Conference Center. It's always a pretty nice affair.
Yeah.
Because each of them give reports and so on, our delegates and senators, so on.
Yeah, if we kind of know what's on the agenda going into those
Yeah,
sections.
it's good for us to be present because we are trying to work with them on some things we're doing. And so that gives us an opportunity to talk about what we're doing,
Yeah,
some
absolutely.
proposed legislation. All right, let's, anything else on public?
That's all. There's nobody.
All right, let's move right to the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. What's your
I'll
pleasure?
move to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay,
A second.
motion on the floor and seconded. You guys had a chance to review it. I glanced through it, didn't see anything. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Financial items, monthly chemical cost report, Bob.
I don't know what to talk about. We're about 2,000 more, this December than last December, but other than that, everything is nothing out of the ordinary. Any questions on it?
You, any questions? Chad?
No
Paul?
questions?
Hearing none, we'll move right on.
Okay, the vendor history reports for month and year to date, December 31st, 2024. Jason Farrell.
Just, they're not the standard, invoices, nothing out of whack this time around. I think I remember telling you what happened with, USALCO. This month we seem pretty good, and of course, the year to date, that covers everything from beginning of fiscal year.
Yeah, nothing that should be called out to us on any concern.
Not that I can think of when I looked at it, but unless you guys have questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Well, it's just either something we're not familiar with or unusual increase or large amount. I didn't see anything. All right, how about a motion to appoint, approve his report as presented? So we can do
So
that.
moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, unaccounted for water loss report for month ending November 30th, 2024.
Which was hot off the press yesterday, and then I get to it or not.
It's the back of that thing. It's all, it's inside of the financial. Well, no, there's nothing.
Get there.
Yeah, it's right here. It's the back of the thing we just did. Tab that says financial statements. It's the last pages.
Last week.
Yeah, it's a real, this first section here says financial statements. It's very small.
Yeah, I was looking at it a minute.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
we're good.
Last
But we can, you can, we'll look at it together here.
Good, I'll look at it.
I can give you my copy when I keep it over.
That's okay. I'm okay.
Give you a copy of everything further.
All right, go ahead.
Here it is.
All right, our net monthly sales was 134,000, 084, which that is in, that thousands, so it's 134 billion. We sold in bulk water 654,000 gallons, so a net loss of 33,099,000 gallons of water puts us at 17.63% for the month, which is lower than the prior month of 22.78. Which brings our total percentage loss to finish down to 17.94, and our total unaccounted for at 15.08.
Really, really good.
That's really
Yeah,
good.
that's great. I'm right where we should be.
Okay.
So, of course, I think we're gonna fluctuate. I think we'll be somewhere in between the 15. If trend keeps going the way it is, I think we'll be somewhere in between the 13 to 15%.
Oh, that'd be excellent. Isn't the kind of a thing to measure yourself against is less than 15%?
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
so we're doing that.
That's what the state, that's the most that they want you to have, 15%. I
You
believe
know,
it
that's
does.
what I'm saying. That's the threshold. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, we don't have any invoice or quotes to consider, so moving on to the general manager's report and business matters. The
Okay.
Chestnut Street water line replacement project, just on the phone this morning, with Doug and Steve. Thrasher is working on the final change order. This change order is, I just want to let you know, this is to clarify what Clarksburg Water Board paid for regarding the slip lining versus the failed board crossings. They need to do a change order that clarifies that, okay, in order to close this out. Along with that, they're also in communications with Green River Group on preparing their final payment application. The only thing remaining in is the retainage, okay? So the only thing remaining is the retainage. So these documents should be ready for the board to consider at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason.
All right.
Any
so-
questions, guys? We'll take these at a time.
No question.
Okay, let's move on.
All right, moving on to the water system improvements project.
Mhm.
For the update, the recordings from the neighborhood outreach meetings have been uploaded to our YouTube channel. This information has been posted on our Facebook page as well. And I've met with Mary Levine with Thrasher. She's actually on Zoom, and I'll be recognizing her in just a second. I met with her and her team at Thrasher regarding the water project website. So she's on Zoom to go over the concept, design, and the functionality of the website. So Mary, it's all yours.
Hi, thanks, Jason.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Mary.
How are you all today?
Doing fine.
Good. Like Jason said, we've done kind of some preliminary discussions on what we need to include at the onset for a website that is specific to the system improvements project. We've gone through kind of an example of what that might look like, and our team is working on getting the design template put together right now. Jason, do you want me to just go through kind of an outline of what the major concept points are for you?
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll have a homepage that just gives kind of a welcome message and a brief overview of what the project is. There will be some quick links to all of the major information, whatever forms are necessary, the meeting recordings, address lookup information, all of that kind of pertinent information. We'll have like a quick links section towards the top of the website. There will be an about section that talks about kind of the history of the project and how we got here, why this project is really happening, and then finding out what to do if your service line needs replaced and all of that type of information. And then we'll have separate sections for each project area. So if I live in Northview, I can click directly on the Northview section and look at information that is pertinent to my area, what the map looks like over there, what the timeline looks like over there, when I can expect work to be done where I'm living. So we'll have a section for each of those project areas, Northview, Staley, downtown, and then the Armory Road, Kramer Drive area. And then there will be a news and updates that will get updated periodically with whatever information we need to get out to the public, whether it's, hey, next week we're moving construction to this area, or if we are out in a news article, we can share the news article on the website, all of that kind of thing. Have the option for a photo gallery so people can see progress is being made. And then we'll have an FAQ section so people can go directly to the website to get their questions answered, and hopefully cut down on some of the phone calls you all get directly to say, hey, I don't know this, I need to find information on this. And that can be kind of a living, breathing section that as you all are getting questions, you can feed that our way and we can get information updated. And then there will be a contact section with the water board's details, but then also a contact form that people can fill out directly on the website and not have to call anybody, and then project specific contact information for somebody with Thrasher to be able to answer questions. And that's kind of the long and short of it at the moment. Like I said, this is what we need really at the beginning. It will always be information that is updated and changed as we need more, or as different pieces kind of come into play, but that's what we're starting with to get things kicked off.
And one of the things we discussed today with Mark Bryson, and sorry, Tim, it actually got brought up in our conversation, but so this is the first time Tim's hearing this, but since Mark has been working with us on this, we want to put the information out to the customers, because as we found out during the neighborhood meetings, they're very interested in what's on our side and what's on their side. Even though they got the letters, that they still wanted to hear from us. What's on your side? What's on my side?
Yeah, when you say what is, let's talk about your talk.
What is?
What type of line?
What type of material? What kind of line material is on, which we call the utility service line? What's my material made of that comes off the main to my meter? What's that material made of?
Mhm.
And what's the material from the meter to my home, which is the customer service line? So I guess one of the things is we have to make that readily available, which is one of the EPA's regulations, is especially on public infrastructure, which from the meter to the main, that's public infrastructure.
Sure.
And that's public information, whether it goes to his house or goes to your house, that's public information because it's publicly owned infrastructure.
Right.
So where we run into a problem is from the meter to the home is on public property. So-
Private property.
Or, I'm sorry, on private property.
Yes.
So how do we make that readily available without it getting in the wrong hands? So what we're looking at is every item on the inventory is all tied back to a unique ID number, and that's the account number. Nobody should have that number but the customer. So working with Mary and her group, what they can do is they can go on there and they can find this information on the website. So they go in there and say, what's at 123 Main Street? Well, we can tell you what the Clarksburg Water Board's the material is made of. But if you want to know what the material is for the customer's side of that, then you need to type in the account number
Yeah.
as like a security code, and then that information will be disclosed to the user.
That's a good idea, using their account number, which is what they have.
Yeah, so, Mark Bryson did not have a problem with that. He said he'd still like to review the rule, and make sure that's okay, talk it over with Tim, and myself before we actually deploy that. The public infrastructure data, we have to disclose that, so we can put that out there. But why do one and not the other? He thinks by having that unique account number on there, which the customers should be, don't want to have that, is enough security to release that information.
Yeah.
And then Bryson and Tim would work on some legal language to put on this information, because again, we know it's not 100%. It's our best, it's the information we have available.
Mhm.
So they may look and say, hey, I don't have galvanized on my side, I just replaced it with plastic. They could call us
Yeah,
and
you
say,
can-
hey, I went on your website,
and you can
it's
update
wrong.
it, and you can update
And
it.
then we can change it on the fly. But transparency and getting that information out to the public, I think shows good on our part that we want to be open and honest with people. Here it is.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of what we're looking at to add to her presentation.
I wonder how you're gonna handle that, because it is to the best of our knowledge.
We didn't realize
You know.
so people were so interested in that. I mean, they heard our presentation during these neighborhood meetings, but then, I mean, they were lined up at my laptop finding out,
Well, the
what's
reason
the
they were
material
doing it, the reason they were, because we also explained about the water board paying for it. If it's replacing a galvanized line following a lead service line and so on.
Yeah.
That was their concern. That's why they wanted to know, because they're preparing. They know we're going to tear up the street and do this. I would want to know in advance, am I going to have to hire a plumber to do my section? That's where you put yourself in their shoes.
A lot of them got the letters, but a lot of them probably threw them away.
Yeah, exactly
Or
right.
didn't understand it. So.
The well's kind of small too, up on the left corner there.
Yeah, so, but again, we're trying to put all this information here out to the public.
Okay,
So transparency, communications is what we're trying to.
all right.
What we're trying to prove here.
Mary and me, my background is marketing and PR. I see all this stuff. We talk about websites and telling people they can go there. We use media like the radio, newspaper, whatever we have. Not everybody gets the red newspaper. Not everybody watches the television. Not everybody is smart about a computer. There's one thing in common that we can't use. Everybody gets a statement. They get a bill. And I would suggest two things we could do. We could put in a bright neon, bright color, maybe an insert to promoting how you can get information. Also, we have a section in there types in, but we can't just have it buried at kind of little small type. I don't know if we can increase size or anything, but call attention to it. We have to communicate. And the best way is we can directly talk to each customer on a personal basis through that. Not using mass media, internets or whatever, but to reach everybody. I'm saying, let's do something with an insert, which is not going to cost any more postages.
Well,
Okay.
if we're doing an insert on the bill,
Mhm.
it will cost us more because we don't produce, we
Okay.
outsource that.
But you mean they don't have the capability? It may cost us more. It can't be much because it's done generally,
It'll,
It's a couple $1,000s.
it's a couple $1,000s to have something put into the bill because they actually have to do something special to put that in with the bill.
all right, now let's stop a minute here, okay? So it costs us a couple $1,000s. Mr. Thrasher, would you think it's worth to spend $2,000 of our money to communicate everybody directly with some help?
Without question.
Without a question. So let's
Well,
not talk about the money part of
Yeah,
it.
I
It's
just,
10, 15,000, 30,000. We're not going to do it, okay?
I just want to make you aware that it does cost a
Well,
little
I
bit
wasn't.
extra.
And there is a little box that we can, there's a box, I don't know how many characters. that
I know
holds.
it's got that little
Yeah,
insert, but most people
we
don't
can
see
put-
it.
We can put information in there too.
But again, most people don't know it. And because people look at their bill, they flip it open, they see the amount, they don't read things. But if you're going to do something with a bright piece of colored paper with something that says, some brilliant thing, important information or must read or something, it gets their attention, they're going to read it. They're going to say, my God, they're raising my rates. What's going on here? And that way we reach everybody directly. I think it's key that we do that. What do you think?
And direct them to the website as well for more information.
And direct them to the website. That's what this idea, that little piece in there is,
Yeah.
how do you get information? Because not everybody has a computer. What do I do? You see?
So I think it's a good idea. I think it's very important. It's only a couple $1,000s. Like you said, as soon as you said right, they're gonna really pay attention. And,
It'll help us in the end. It'll help us in the end to reduce phone
Yeah,
calls.
I believe so.
That's worth a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
But whatever it does, of course, we'll have to approve the expenditure unless, whatever. Okay, I'm glad you brought it up. I didn't know if there was a fee or not. I know
Yeah, there'd be a
sometimes
fee
they
for
are.
that. I don't know how much it'd be, because it'll also increase the postage a little bit because the postage is based off our permit and it's based off a certain weight, so that will increase the postage a little bit.
Could be or could not be. You don't know what
But
it
it'll
is.
also be.
A single little insert may not increase it at all too.
Your one sheet probably wouldn't.
Well, it increases, it does because it's so many ounces for that permit. So they have.
Well, I
they'll have to use-
understand.
They'll have to use they'll have to use something a little bit extra to get that to go out. But it won't be as much as we did it here. It wouldn't cost us nearly as much doing it with them as it would be us trying to do it ourselves.
Well, I guess-
Again, the weight of a
Definitely
little,
cost
the weight of a little small, the postage size thing that's going to go in there is negligible. There may be a little bit of cost. That's,
Still cheaper.
It's still cheaper.
Still cheaper to do that.
because I know when I take stuff to the post office, and I do our billing for our Lions Club and stuff, I gotta put I know we're using a postal permit, I understand that. But when I put stuff into it, you've got to put an envelope, I gotta put the bill, a return postage envelope and all that. It never increased our postage a penny
Well, we get the special rate
because of the postal.
because of the postal permit in which that's based off. And that permit only allows you to put in, because it's you have
It's
your bill
thickness
and you
and
have your
weight.
insurance, and it's all been pre-weighed. So they don't have to go through all the extra stuff, so it's why it's in the pre-sort. But when you add an extra letter in there, it increases the weight. Even by it's a quarter of an ounce, it still weighs, so that means they have to use a different permit, which could actually cost a little bit more money.
Still worth it in the
But
end.
it's still worth it in the end.
Okay, let's not get hung up on this.
Yeah,
Do you
it's
think
still
so,
worth
guys?
it in the end.
I mean,
And then
if they got
we would all-
equipment to
obviously,
measure that little piece
We
of
would only
paper.
do that when it's important enough to
Yeah.
incur the expense.
Okay, I just thought it was a good idea to reach everybody directly.
But if it's something, I mean, we can even do postcards internally. And then we can go to the post office and send them in bulk.
Yeah,
Because,
I mean, it's all kinds of ways. We just need to communicate. This whole project, I think Mary's gonna agree. The biggest thing to our success is not doing the project, is how we handle, how we communicate it. And have people
Communication.
feel comfortable that we're doing everything we can to make them comfortable. It's not gonna be perfect. There's gonna be inconvenience.
In the meantime, though, we could use that little text box, put the website in there.
Yeah.
Start promoting and see if we're starting to get some traffic.
But again, I said that all along. We use that little text box. But I don't know how many people actually look at it.
Right.
Unless it's a bright color or out of the meeting ad.
If their bill's the same, they usually just look at the.
They look at the mountains. So,
That's
Hey,
what,
Bill.
yeah, that's all they look at. They look straight down.
okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
And we might put on that little flyer, check your text box, from time to time we have special messages. Okay. They don't understand what that means.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough talk about that. I'm sorry.
All right, updates from Doug.
So.
Thanks, Mary.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye, Mary.
Lake Hollow, water line.
Yep.
So we got,
Now, do you have anything else to add to the
no, sorry.
water?
No, just the only thing we're doing right now is continuing to receive submittals from the contractors. They are, requesting us to look at some of the materials for substitutes because of lack of availability in the bulk we're talking about. We will look at those and make a decision or come and ask for, provide you with a recommendation if there's something that, seems to be there. But, our first thing is we need to look at, number one, make sure it's, truly an engineering equal. And then also making sure that it is meets the map of the Build America, better.
Was it Build America, Buy America?
Yeah, Build America, Buy America Act, make sure that it complies with that. And then, from there, we'll go forward. But we do expect we're gonna run into some of those issues just because we'll have some, availability issues, but we'll deal with those. So that's what we're doing right now.
Did we not have a contractor? I attended that meeting, that last meeting. and both the meetings you had with them. And one of the contractors said they hope to get started in January. Now,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
think that's
I
gonna be,
think-
I don't think that's gonna be practical.
No, I don't either. And from what we've heard so far, it's more like
February.
middle of February. And because again, just getting that stuff now, starting the contract in July could now, or January could now actually mean, they're starting to order material and stuff, but I don't think we're gonna see.
They're not gonna break
any
any ground in January. Okay,
I don't think so.
they're just preparing their site,
Yes.
inventory and all that stuff.
Right.
Okay, let's move on then, the next one.
We're also gonna have another pre-construction. meeting.
Yes, we're gonna go ahead, I'm calling another pre-construction meeting with our, contractors.
For phase 3A.
Yes, for phase 3A.
The four
guys
the
have
four
already-
contractors.
The four contractors, I want them, and I want their main suppliers there as well. Because one of the issues that we're starting to develop is we're having, contractors and suppliers calling Jason and his staff asking for, oh, can we do this and can we do that? And we need to nip that in the bud right now. Those conversations and communication needs to go through my
We
staff
should.
so that we keep it on track and
Consistent.
approvals are done. And then if there's something that we need to bring to you guys for your comments, we'll do that. But we want to try to filter as much of that away from you as possible. You guys have business to run here. And so I'm going to kind of have a little come to Jesus meeting with our
Right.
contractors and just reestablish what the ground rules are for this. So we're going to try to get that within the next couple of weeks, and
They need to understand the communications and how it's handled. And so
they do. And if for some reason that they are trying to go through, and this is not the problem yet, but if for some reason they get to the point they're not getting responses back from my staff fast enough, I need to know that, and we'll address that.
Right.
But the last thing I need is them bombarding your staff with questions.
We can't get them to respond. What do we do?
Right. So we'll take care of that, but we are going to have that meeting in the very near future. to talk about that.
What about the supply chain and all this stuff? Because more and more people are all across the country are going to be looking at these same products, getting the service line connections, this thing, that thing, and so on, major line replacements.
Yeah, it has the potential to be a problem at some point. I think it's going to be more of a scare up front because everybody is trying to buy it on day one.
Yeah.
But you know how it is. It's Black Friday at 4 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's trampling everybody, and then you come in at 9 o'clock and business is normal.
Yes.
So I think we're going to have a lot of that going on as well. But we got to deal with the trampling right off the bat. So we're trying to get out ahead of that. So are the contractors, but we just need to keep on moving with it.
All right, Mr. Manager.
Another thing, I talked to Doug and I spoke to the city manager, is we are going to be scheduling a groundbreaking event, probably around February, March,
For the Pike and Main Street project.
for the whole project.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're going to have all of it in a central location, probably downtown. We're going to partner with the city to have a groundbreaking ceremony, bringing in folks like Marie
Prezioso.
Prezioso.
Yep.
Kathy Emery, all the partners in this. Bring them all in.
Will Shelby
recognize them.
there?
Obviously, our rock star Shelby will be there. Bring everybody in. This is a big project and we're very proud of it. And we want to thank the folks that's got us here. So I think a groundbreaking is something that we need to do. And Thrasher's volunteered to help us with that. Again, Tiffany wants to be involved, and we want to involve the city because we're in this together. That shows working together.
What about the gas company? I know you don't want to hear that.
Well, the gas company will invite them, but maybe they'll pay for all the stuff.
Yeah, they can't just get a free ride.
But no, I mean, we'll try to get everybody involved, have all the contractors and their representatives there. Make a really nice presentation. I mean, we need to celebrate our accomplishments. This is a huge accomplishment for us
Yes, it is.
and a huge undertaking.
That's a big project.
There's a lot of people involved and we need to bring everybody together and celebrate.
Just our side's gonna be probably well over $150-60 million. That's a lot of money.
So that's another thing that we're working on.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to the Snake Hollow Road Waterline Extension Project. I executed and returned amendment number 1 to the DEP This was to extend the performance period to December 31, 25. We also received authorization to bid as well. And with that, I will turn it over to Doug.
Yep.
To move forward with talking about the bid schedule.
Okay, so, we have submitted some dates to, Roger Earl with the DEP Abandoned Mine Program. Our anticipation is that we are going to be advertising next week. So, we've sent those dates for him, so it'll be advertised next week, 30 days from there, we'll open bids. And then from there, there will be the closing and so forth. But yeah, right now, hopefully Roger will get back to us in the next day or so. But I see no reason to slow down on the bidding process, and let's get it out the door.
So it could be actually under construction before spring around.
That's what we are hoping.
That'd be great. That
Yes.
would be great. We get rid of some of this nasty weather.
What's the construction period for that, being just that small stretch?
I don't remember the contract length, but I'm thinking it's 6 months or something like
you said
that.
6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at a bid opening, February 18th.
Oh, okay, so we definitely will be into March.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Yep.
What's the next thing on
Do
the
we have
agenda?
anything, did I miss anything on either project? I'm sorry.
Any questions,
I'm
Chad?
going through my notes here, just nothing on
No
the water
questions. No questions.
project for your end, and nothing on the state law.
Okay, we have no questions from anybody yet. Move on.
Okay. Second Street Pump Station.
Second Street Pump Station, we have the final, bid documents in my hand to do the final review on those. We are waiting for the actual drawing from the contractor, not the contractor, but the vendor that is giving us the sample to do that. He is supposed to have that next week. So my intention is, since we are bidding out, Snake Hollow next week, then we will bid out Second Street the following week. So we will do kind of like a 1-2
Yeah.
timeframe, and that'll be open. So if we're opening on February the 18th, say for Snake Hollow, then we'll be opening sometime around the 25th for the Second Street Pump Station. So moving right along,
We're putting that up right at the tank, or
right at the time.
Jason is Billy on this next section.
So waiting for draws. So you're looking at, so not next week, because next week,
Snake Hollow.
Snake Hollow.
Yeah,
is going
Snake
out.
Hollow, and then the following week, we will do the Second Street.
All right.
Okay, we are at the TTHM removal project. We have Billy Wiggins on Zoom, and he sent out, which I didn't get in your packet because he just sent it just a little bit ago. Are you going to share it on your screen, Billy?
I can.
Okay, he's got some information to share regarding the aeration system here at the plant at Clearwell. So with that, Billy, I will let you take over.
Okay, sir. I'm gonna basically pull the drawing up. Can everybody see
Yep.
the draw? Okay. So this is a revision of what we did early on in last year. We had at the Clearwell, we're looking at treating what was our interpretation of what your average flow was 4,000 gallons per minute. We were asked to come back and look more at a peak flow and a flow for growth, which is a 6,000 gallons, or a 50% increase on what we're trying to treat at the Clearwell. And that's mostly what this drawing is about. So our pumps went from 100 horse up to 150. We've gotten our quotes from vendors back on those. What we had is a 10-inch stainless steel line to accommodate the higher flow have moved to 12-inch. Those were Schedule 10 304 stainless steel. And of course, with the 50% increase in flow, we got more spray nozzles and bigger tanks. As I was looking at this, and just thinking about when all this is going to hit in the winter, I was looking at actually making these tanks more modular so we can work on them in the shop and ship them up. They're going to be 10 by 40s, and we can do 4 of those. Rather than, our original plan was to try to build a tank in place, but we can have all this ready to go and kind of crunch our construction schedule by doing this. But this is what we've come up with to handle the 6,000 gallons per minute. The increase in price, which I always like to try to explain if there's a price increase, you went up 50% in flow. The price, I think, went up almost right around 20%. So what we had quoted at 800 is at 975. So it's 175,000 addition to go from the 4 to the 6,000 gallons per minute at the clear well. But if you compare that to say Despard, where you're treating 800, you know, the increase in price to treat that additional 2,000 is not nearly as great as what it would be out in the system. So all that to say, you know, we spend the money at the clear well, it's going to save money out in distribution. All the equipment should be kind of shrinking the more we clean the water at the clear well. Any questions on what we've done here, or y'all remember what the you know, what our original quote looked like, or the original drawing? It basically the same concept, just gotten bigger. Despard was the other part of this phase, I think. Isn't that correct, Jason? We're just looking at Clearwell and Despard Hill to start with.
That's correct in about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Despard, there's no change. So the only increase we had was at the Clearwell.
Yeah, because this was gonna help out Bridgeport, Tri-County, FBI, right? That's one of that's part, yeah.
And so what I'll provide with that is, you know, we've run through the scenarios. If we run this 6,000 gallons per minute here, what we should see out in the in distribution. So we'll share that spreadsheet. I'll get it out sometime today.
Now, at Despard, we got 2 tanks, so we're gonna have 1 unit that's gonna feed the sparger plates and all that stuff.
Yep.
How's that work? You have 2 tanks side by side. Is there 2
Yes, sir.
units?
We'll have 2 units.
Okay.
The way we're going to do that was just in, I didn't provide anything on that for this meeting, but we do have some drawings on that.
Because I wasn't sure with them being close together, if one pump was gonna do both tanks. And feed it back through the same unit. I wasn't sure on that one, so it's gonna be 2.
Yes, sir. We have done that in the past, Jason. And that'll be something we can look at if there's some cost savings to be had there. We will absolutely pass that back to you, but what we have looked at to begin with was just the one system, or I mean, the 2 systems, 1 per tank, tapping into each tank and returning, because you got 2 tank mixers that you will need to install. So it gets a little tricky balancing flows with 1 pump going to multiple tanks.
Do we know if we have the power for the upgrade motor? Is it what we have there? Can it handle it?
Yeah, we're gonna have to do 3-phase that most of our,
We're going to have to run new circuits?
yeah, and Bob's already been in communications with power.
Yeah, I need to get back hold of them again.
Yeah, I think all of it's gonna have to have 3-phase, right? Yeah. You said there was only one that they're gonna have to build it in, right? Is that Second Street?
The one that was gonna cost the most amount of money was Country Club.
Country Club, that's the one.
Cause we already got it close, they already got 3 phases.
There's not a problem getting 3 phase up there at Second Street.
Yeah.
It's there.
Country
It was,
Club's the one.
it was Despard and Country Club. He said that Despard wouldn't be that bad, but Country Club would be the one with.
That's when they gotta build it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a
Should
question.
have to do a lot.
If-
I have a question, Billy.
Go
We're
ahead.
increasing the volume 50% from 4 to 6,000 gallon, right, a minute?
That is correct.
Okay, now, and we're doing that, the rationale is for future growth mainly, and whatever. What was the other reason? There were 2 reasons.
There were peak.
Since we're sending it out to a large distribution area, it'd be better to run that. Okay,
Well, it's
I
kind of like, even though we only do 7.5 million a day, there's times that you're pumping maybe 9. So in that process, in the Clearwell, you're putting 9 mil in instead of, what was it? 4,000 gallons a minute was what, 6?
Yes, sir. That was more your average day in and day out rates.
That's why.
So we could have peaks where it wouldn't really get it all.
Right, yeah, exactly.
but I
It
was,
would get them, but it wouldn't be utilizing the equipment
that's what I was trying to get at. That's a better way to put it. That if we want to operate it at 4,000, now we're going to 6. How about when we don't have the demand? We're still going to be pushing out 6,000 or what?
No, it's just the equipment will be sized for the max coming through.
Okay.
So
We-
when it's
do we
4,000,
control how much?
oh yeah, we control what goes through there
Okay, so,
by what the demand in the system is.
oh, I thought it was automatic, if it just switch up to 6,000 all.
No, it's automatic.
Okay, I got you, that's all.
Yeah.
Good question.
All
So
right,
yeah,
guys.
the pumps can be on timers. If you're running lower flow rates, you don't have to run the system 24 hours a day.
Okay, a lot of flexibility, it sounds like, Billy.
Yes, sir.
Are these pumps instant on and off? Do we need to have variable speed on them or?
Are they variable speed, Billy?
They are not variable speed. They're soft start just for money savings. There's no need really that I saw we're trying to maintain a good pressure, across the spray nozzles.
So it's not like an instant change in pressure, the shock and hammered or whatever. You
almost
said
like
it was
a
a
VFD.
soft start.
It's a soft start.
Okay,
It's almost like a VFD.
It's what we
Good
have
question.
out at the pump station.
good
Pump
question.
station, when they come on, they're soft starts.
All right. Chad, you have any questions on any of this?
No, just listen to you all.
Well, it's hard for you to see the drawings, but
Yeah.
there are drawings, but Billy did a good job describing it. And so did Bobby. Really good. I like the idea of building it off site and bringing in 7 in. I think that'd be more effective for Billy's group to go ahead and manufacture it all put together.
It should help us save time. I mean, we're not going to have the snow you guys have, obviously. So a little bit
Well, you
better,
want some?
working.
We can bring some
We'll
down.
send you some.
And we're actually getting
Uh,
rid of this.
We're getting some of it, believe it or not. Just not what
Yeah,
you
we
guys
are.
getting.
Now,
I
where's
was wondering
this
where
is
Steve
Texas,
was.
Georgia.
I was wondering where Steve was.
Hey, Jason, this is Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Happy New Year, to everybody. Just wondering,
Happy New Year, Scott.
did we get any good news from the state?
We haven't heard anything from, unless Shelby has any, we haven't heard anything from the EPA.
Shelby sent the email out.
I never contacted the state.
No,
He's-
he means
No,
that.
EPA.
EPA.
Yeah, we followed up with them last month right before the holiday break, but haven't heard back. Hopefully getting some news soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to put together a sole source justification, and also, execute a grant agreement, which we can't do without them sending it out, so, that's where we're at.
And your email was very good. I mean, it talked about the urgency, the timeline in order to get these systems put in place
Did we have that?
before the summer heat. I mean, she did a very good,
Did we get a copy of that?
no, she just included me in that. CC.
Well, Jason, realistically, if you had a crystal ball, what do you think the timetable really looks like in terms of when we can order material?
I think we'll have something next month because during our initial conversation with her, that February 25 was thrown around a couple times during our conversation with her. So I think that's her deadline, must be that's been put on her. So I'd imagine next month we're gonna see things turning around. Again, we're pushing to get this so that does happen.
Got to get it done before all the hot weather hits again like we had this year.
Well,
And I think Billy, you mentioned if you can have an answer by the end of February, we can still make this happen.
We're going to go ahead and get things ready. We still need to submit to the state of West Virginia any changes to your water treatment process. So I think you and I talked between the last
did.
meeting and this one about going ahead and getting the drawings in order to send to the state,
Yep.
especially for the Clearwell and Despard.
Yeah. Makes sense, Jason. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, we talked about that after the meeting. We had another call.
All right,
Who did you talk to about that? 'Cause when I talked to Mike and them in Fairmont, they said that usually they don't have they don't have to approve anything.
Well, he has to send it to the state Bureau of Public Health. It's the Office of Environmental Health Services, right?
Yeah.
They have to review it. Is that all?
Even if they submit back that they don't have to approve, I would go ahead, when you're talking about the treatment part of this, I would send it in and make them tell you that you don't need to do that change.
Does it send it in?
That's better safe than sorry.
Yes.
Or delayed.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in this kind of process.
Gotcha, man. Any other discussion on this? Anything else? Did we miss anything, guys? I can't think of anything. Chad, any questions? I asked you that before, but. Okay, Paul, any more?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I have
Billy.
just a few questions that I needed.
really?
and it's more to do with, you know, the constructability of this. At some point, we'll need to know, I don't know if y'all have structural drawings on your clear well, but before we put weight on it, it would be nice to know exactly what it's capable of holding. And I know that it's covered in grass. Do we have an idea about how far down it is to the concrete lid?
It's, what the heck was it? Deep? No, it's not real deep. I think it's less than a foot.
Okay, I had assumed a foot, but I didn't really know.
Yeah, it's, like I said, it's not real far.
And just another question, when we move forward with this and we're ready to do construction, you know, we will have to tap 2 holes, 1 for each pump, and then a gravity return for each of those tanks.
Okay.
So, well, when we tap those holes, will we be able to have the clear well down? I mean, can you put enough in distribution so that we could be down for a long enough period to, you know, if we drop a chunk of concrete in the tank that we need to retrieve, is that going to be a doable thing?
Yeah, that won't be a big deal.
Okay, I figured it wouldn't, but just wanted to ask the question.
How much time are you thinking you would need to construct that?
You know, we'd have everything right ready and punch the holes so one day, and then we can cover the holes up with stainless plate or whatever we need to, so that you can start back with your clear well.
Well, one thing about it was this past year, we exercised all the valves out there, got them all working, so
Yeah.
we can actually separate into two different basins. So when you're doing that work, we could actually be feeding out of the back side of it, and we can have the front side just empty.
Okay.
It's good.
And
What really scares me through all this is just you know, we're gonna be pushing up against, you know, the summer time frame if this thing keeps going into February. Because we're gonna have probably at least Billy, a 10 to 14 week turnaround for
well,
parts.
to get you know, from the time we say go, from the time we sign the contract and y'all say go, of course, I'm gonna be working on drawings too, but to get all of our submittals in and get back to you guys to approve and sign off on, say, yes, this is exactly what we want. You know, it's not so much us as it is our vendors we have to get information from. That's going to be a 3 to 4 week process.
So Jason, I guess there is no way from the EPA's perspective or the federal Fed perspective that we could possibly get this thing early February, late January.
It's possible. I can follow up with Kelly again via email, and see what she gives us, but I would not count on it.
She lined you up, dropped you down nice.
You know what? You sound like the local weather people on TV. Don't count on it.
Don't put me into that
Could be
spot.
something tomorrow, but it's not.
Deal with the federal government, hush it.
All right. Any other questions, guys? Billy or
You know,
Steve?
I think pumps will be 12 to 14 weeks with the 150 horse pumps, what they wrote on the quote for me. But we can be doing other things while that's going on. So you can, you know, 14 weeks is that's 3.5 months just waiting on pumps to get here.
Wow.
And the bad thing is, like we talked before, if we use any of our money now, we don't get it reimbursed.
Yeah. And then, you know, and Billy, there's always a chance that we do get it earlier than what we're
There
talking
is.
about too. So
They
believe me, we're gonna
cover
put a
themselves.
rush on it, but the sooner that we can move on with the first, you know, percentage of this, the better for us and everybody.
Yeah.
I know, hey, I know Bobby's got a magic wand somewhere.
I can tell you right now, with our experience with the EPA, their speed, and it is internally slow.
Slow
They
and
want
slow.
you to do it fast, but they can do it at their pace. That's the bad thing. Their pace is slow.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's all grant money. We put it in
100%.
100%. Any other questions, guys? It's a great presentation, Billy. You guys did a good job there.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, the wheels of government go slow.
Oh, this is everywhere. Yep.
We try to push it. Again, I still think things will turn over quickly in February. February came from her, and I'd imagine that's probably a deadline that was set for her, probably from her superiors. So that's why Shelby and I would keep going back to February. We'd imagine things is going to turn pretty quick. If we can get it done faster, Shelby and I can, push her to the point she tells us to quit calling her, I guess.
Why don't you and Shelby go to the inauguration with some big signs?
Yes, they can.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this lady's in
Just don't go in the
Philadelphia.
White House.
Like go to the city of
But don't go
Brotherhood.
in the White House or the Capitol.
We'd have to go to the city of Brotherhood for this one, because I think she's in Philadelphia.
All right.
Probably working from home, but we could go to Philadelphia after January.
Show up at our house. You guys need to watch
Everything
that
is
Jerry
in
Maguire film, when he says, show me the money.
Yeah. We're having a good time. One thing about our water board meetings, we do very serious business, but we also inject a little humor in some things when we can and not have the meetings so dull. Okay.
How much money would you need, just throwing this question out there, how much money would you need to start this project, just so we can?
Most of our vendors are asking, I mean, we pass that, how we have the quote written up to you, the 20-40-40 is exactly what our vendors do to us. So before we order any materials, before they'll even get the process started, we have to pay them 20%. So that would be pumps, panels, our stainless steel that we're making tanks out of, we just have to pay 100% of that. So
So do you have an
it's going to be a
estimated-
good chunk of money up front to get the materials. But the pumps and the panels are at 20%. And then same thing, when they send us their submittals and I sign them, they still will not place an order till I send them an additional 40%. So I got to have 60% of all the money for the electronics before they'll ever even place an order.
Do you have a ballpark number? You're talking 300,000?
Let me go through and I can get a number pulled together of what the bare minimum that we would need to get started.
Okay, because that may be a question, once we get down to it, that Shelby may have to answer.
And we get reimbursed, we pay in advance out of our pocket.
If, once they've been approved as a sole source and the agreement's been approved.
That's the big.
Yes, if we do that prior to, the only expenses that we can get reimbursed for prior to that is administration.
Okay, well, we want to proceed very cautiously.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Shelby's
Yeah,
fees,
well-
where we signed the contract for her fees, yes, that can be paid prior to the grant agreement. Everything else has to wait until we sign that grant agreement.
All right, everybody ask all the questions. Do you have any questions? Anybody here? Okay. Thank you, Billy and everybody.
You're welcome.
If you want, Billy, get back, send me an email with that number, just so we have that number and Shelby can have that number. So when we're talking, we can give real numbers out.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, man.
Sure.
Happy New Year.
All right.
See you.
Okay, the last thing is the UniFirst Customer Service Agreement that you have there. UniFirst has offered us a new contract with reduced pricing. Maybe 25 cents here, 30 some cents there. But it's reduced pricing. It's a 36-month term with no more than 1% increase per year. So for the 36 months, it only going to go up 3% during.
So that's where the 3%.
Yes. 1%. It won't go up any more than 1% per year. So I recommend that the board approve this contract and to give me authorization to execute said contract.
Okay, then, and the prices are on here. We don't have to do them all.
Right.
Okay.
I move to approve the new contract from UniFirst.
Second.
And we can, and you can refer to it here as the agreement number and so. The document goes through.
Yes.
Okay. All right, motion on the floor and duly seconded. This is kind of a no-brainer. We pride our staff with, they all look good, and that's part of our image, and it also helps them too. So let's move on. Vote on it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion carries unanimously.
Does board members have any reports or comments they'd like to make?
Not at this time.
Chad?
Just have their thoughts and prayers with Bobby, thinking of him, and again, Jason, all the good stuff that you've been doing, making sure all the public's informed with everything's going on, so good work.
And also, we want to thank the staff that showed on Monday. You know, you had that out that we weren't closing, and people had to, they could come to work, it was a work day. And if they didn't, they weren't going to lose pay, because they just had to use a personal day,
PTO.
which they have plenty of personal days. Okay, so there was what, four people or so in the office.
It's a handful.
Do we have many breaks and stuff during all this really cold weather? You know, people say, oh, my water line's broke, I gotta run out and shut it off.
And really, very low freeze ups.
We're very lucky so far. Now tonight's gonna be really cold, I think, okay. All righty, let's, we're done with the regular session.
Employee reports, Jason, do you have anything?
Yeah, we could. We got the purchase order system up and going. We've got both departments utilizing the software and entering their stuff in, so that is fully up and functional at this point. Like you said, we was gonna start that at the beginning of the year, and we did. We started on January 2nd with Bobby. And
It's been working pretty good.
Good deal.
We're pretty good.
When are we gonna do something about the laptop situation?
Pioneer's working on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's taking a long time. I can hardly lift this thing.
Is that program very cumbersome,
Um,
or just need to get used to?
They need to get used to it. I mean, it's pretty easy. I did some SOPs for the employees. I was able to do that last week. And so that way they can have something to follow to do it. And I mean, there's a lot worse programs out there than what we've got for them to do that. I mean, City of Bridgeport employees got it and they love it down there. It's the same thing that we've got. And Jason can testify to what Bridgeport says, because he's talked to Beth and all of them down there, and they said they absolutely love it. So I mean, it just takes time to get used to. I mean, it's not using an Excel document anymore where you can just do what you want with it. You've actually there's some steps you gotta take. But I've created an SOP where they can follow their steps, and once they get used to it, it'll be a pretty basic thing for them to do on a daily basis.
Yeah, our goal here, it's gonna take us a little bit, but we're gonna pay for this. That thing with paper, just everything, we're gonna pay for this. Like I said,
Is this program, is it also sending out work orders too? Or is
Work
this-
orders is like GoCanvas, that's
Okay,
different.
But
There's only a few people that will actually use this program, like
Yeah.
the managers of our
Correct,
distribution. and
yes,
stuff.
Larry, outside of the manager's seat.
Bobby.
Larry, Bob, Gill, when Bob's not here, myself, Jason, Clyde, Painter, and Gina.
yes, there is work orders in there, but the work orders that's in this system is for when they go out and they do like a line repair. That's how they record their inventory they use, and that's how sometimes it's how we look at the cost of what that repair cost us.
Yeah.
So that's the only work orders out there, because I don't want, when you guys get confused so much when we say work orders for a customer, we try to call those service orders, because they're, dealing with customer service. And then the work orders is when they go out there, let's say we have a break on Chestnut Street, that would be a work order that they generate after. They go out and do the work, but they bring the information back in and put it in as a work order. That way there we can look at the inventory they use, so we can deduct it out of our inventory.
Glad good clarification. Yeah, we have service orders, which is GoCanvas. That's if you call in and say, hey.
Gotcha, right.
something. So, but we have a break on Chestnut Street. They go out, repair it, they fill out an order, give it to Dave Burns. Dave then goes into the system he's talking about, and starts removing that stuff from inventory. So, glad you
That's
asked the
good,
question.
yeah, that ought to be helpful, especially distribution.
So they're putting it in, Bob putting his chemicals in and then dispenses it. Larry puts it in and then Dave Burns dispenses it as.
The hard work's putting all your data in, right?
Yeah. There's gonna be mistakes, there's gonna be some crazy stuff on the onboarding of this, but once everybody gets into the routine, it's gonna look great.
But the work orders, Dave's been doing that probably, I would say 8 or 9 years now. So that's already been full effect. So that's nothing new for Dave, so.
It won't know inventory. you know, currently. I mean, because right now we only, it
We
ends
count
a year.
once a year and it's hard to
Yeah.
keep, it's hard to keep track of things. But when you got, but you can't disperse it, this way here, when we do it this way, we could be able to disperse it sooner, because right now I'm having to wait a month or two to make sure we get all the invoices in, because you might do an order, which now, the order might come in down here, but you might be waiting 2 or 3 weeks for it, and the part might already go out. But you can't disperse it when they actually use it. You gotta wait till the invoice comes in, so that way it receipts it into the system. Then you can disperse it. So I have to wait a month or two to disperse this stuff out. So I'm hoping this will kind of expedite that, because when stuff comes in, we can already see that we got stuff out there, and then we can start gathering the data and hopefully get these invoices in the system sooner, because they're not.
Real-time inventory, which is something I've been pushing since.
Yeah, we're getting there. It's just a little bit of time and effort to get to that point.
So thank you for all your time doing that. I know it's been a challenging thing, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
So we got a long, we still got some improvements to make, but we're getting there. So Bob's been our champion. Bob, he took off on the PO systems, actually been helping distribution. Bob, Jason works with the software every day, so he understands it, everything. So Bob, what do you call it? Dumb it down.
Put it in our terminology.
So, Larry spent a whole day with him on Monday, right?
Yeah.
And Larry, actually approved some of his requisitions this morning, that he's putting them through. So, I mean, they're getting the hang of it. So Bob, thank you for doing that. But Bob, do you have anything in your department?
Just one thing, it's a slow process, but just to let you know, I don't understand why back years ago, but when we quit feeding the lime, they never fed it all out. So there's still lime in these silos around here. So what we're doing now is trying to slowly take them out. We actually got part of the equipment working to where we can fill up some feed sacks and stuff of lime to try to get them out. So that's one thing that we're doing that normally we wouldn't do, so.
What are we doing with it when you put it in feed sacks? Then where does it go?
Well, the GM said that if we needed it, we could use it, so.
We
We're gonna take it to I have a hunting lease, and I'm gonna put it on the land to fertilize.
we're saying we personally employ, since it's get rid of it.
Yeah.
And just get rid of it. Yeah, it's just sitting in there. So if you want some,
Is it
anybody
still
needs it.
good?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it was hard and crusty at the first of the thing to get it broke through.
I think it'd be crusty.
But it's still soft, actually. It's just, we ended up getting the shakers working.
If people
on it
want to
to
put
where we can shake it
liming
down.
their yards, liming
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, if you want it, come get it. But,
But I want you to do it, come lime my yard. Okay, anything else on this?
You want to talk about the ventilation system,
but not really.
since we talked about it today? And then Doug can chime in what I told him, Doug,
Well,
what you said about the scrubbers and stuff.
In the 3 rooms that we have, it's gonna be about $30,000 to put new, ventilation in there. In one room, they're not even changing the ventilation equipment, they're just running ductwork. And then we were looking today, I went in there and looked a little bit, and Cornbread then came out there. And we don't think we're getting any fresh air coming back in. So we're gonna try to explore on the roof, see if there's a motor or something up there that's not working. See if we can get it to where it'll actually, the ventilation will work the way it's supposed to.
Who installed that, you know?
That's when
The one at plant, that's the same equipment as the plant.
Has it always been like that or just started?
I cannot tell you that,
That came with the
because
original.
we've never smoke tested it.
Happens
reason-
over time. Chlorine is an extremely corrosive gas, and so it doesn't take long for it to hit the different contacts and the things like that for those motors and fans and stuff to stop working. It's a pretty common problem.
The belts and everything, the motors and stuff are working. One of the belts that I took off, it looked like a dozer tread.
Yeah.
So we got a new belt to put on it, but I don't know if the squirrel cages are wore out or it doesn't get as much, or maybe there's no fresh air coming in. But we never did test them. We just was aware once we put smoke in there, it took almost half hour to get it out of there.
Well, we're gonna bring this to a close because we're gonna just talk among ourselves here with these meetings. You know the job, you know the responsibility.
I want
And you
Doug.
work back to us, and Doug's gonna get involved.
Yeah, Doug, the way the ventilation systems / wall systems does not meet the current code. Because we're gonna be pouring out of this building, if we have chlorine leak, we're shoving chlorine in the outside atmosphere, which could kill people.
Yeah, one of the things that EPA, and it all depends on how your system is set up. I think if you've got one tank connected at a time, you might
Two.
fall. If you got two, then,
Yeah, they're a ton, right?
Well, we have
One
two
ton.
of them.
so you should be having to do every 5 years, an emergency response plan, a scenario, worst case scenario,
Yeah,
so
we
that
do
something happens.
Right.
And so you've got to have a policy in place, what happens if there is a chlorine breach, okay? And so you can't, my memory of it is, and I'd have to brush myself up on it, it's been a while, but my memory of it is you cannot have it to automatically spew to the outside, because a scenario could be that if you have a breach, you're gonna blow it into the neighborhood, and you could have, issues there.
Yeah, certainly.
And so you would need to have somebody qualified to look at that part of it and potentially do that analysis to see, okay, what is the protocol for if you've got a breach? Like, one thing could be you have scrubbers installed before it gets pushed to the outside air. You have the system contained, period, and it does not leave the building. That's horrible for the people in the building, but it protects the neighborhood and the public as a whole. I don't have those answers. I just know enough that I would not just blindly fix the fans and make the assumption that we've fixed the problem, because there's a lot more involved in that. And we're going to dig into that a little deeper and see what we can do.
All right, so we'll bring that discussion. We know we got professionals looking at it. Again, we can't act on it. We're just made aware of what the problem is. You guys work it out.
We thought it was gonna be an easy fix. Well, it's like, there's nothing ever an easy.
Because
fix.
nothing we can do to sit here and let somebody talk about it. Okay.
Even $30,000 was not an easy fix, and that's not gonna fix the problem, it sounds like, it's just for Band-Aiding, so.
Okay, thank you. All right. But, anybody here else have any questions or anything?
We're at the end of the agenda, we got a executive session.
It's going to be a long executive session. Do you anticipate? You want to wait a
No,
minute?
we gotta be done before 30.
We'll try.
Paul's got an appointment.
What time is it? All right, we'll be out here before 4:30. Okay.
And Tim, I'll call you on your cell phone. Okay?
All right, Tim. Good seeing you, buddy. He's being real quiet. All righty, guys. Motion to adjourn. And go into executive session.
That's
Second, but Chad. Okay, all in favor, say aye.